Welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to do a stovetop recipe rather than baking, and this is going to be a soup. It's called Bramborac, which is a Czech word, and it's for potato soup. So it's a Czech potato soup. It's actually very easy to make and very tasty indeed. When I lived in the Czech Republic for a few years, I had this at every opportunity when I was in restaurants. Very good. So it has basically the same ingredients if you look at any recipe or video. A couple of them use cumin as a spice, and I don't think that fits readily with the soup, so I'm not using that, but I am using the other spices, which is herbs in fact, caraway seeds and marjoram. So it's potato with some carrot, parsnip, celeriac, dried mushrooms. If you don't have dried mushrooms, you can use fresh mushrooms, but dried mushrooms which have been boiled and soaked and boiled for a while, and then some garlic and some water or some stock, and that's about all there is to it really. And often in the Czech Republic, in a restaurant, this will be served in a loaf of bread. If you imagine a round artisan loaf of bread with the top cut off and then hollowed out inside, the soup is put in that, and then the top is put back on, and it's served like that. And it's very good, eating the bread as well as eating the soup. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and for this I have one good sized carrot which I have chopped into pieces, 100 grams, 3.5 ounces of celeriac which I've chopped into pieces, one decent sized parsnip, again chopped into pieces. I have a large onion which I've chopped. I have 3 decent sized potatoes, again which I have peeled and chopped into larger pieces. I have 40 grams of dried mushrooms which I've soaked in 300 millilitres of water, and then I've brought that to the boil and boiled it for 10 minutes. I'm going to use the mushrooms and about half a cup of the water as well. I have 40 grams, which is 1/4 cup plus a teaspoon of plain flour, based on scooping packed flour into a 250 millilitre cup. I have the garlic from 3 cloves of garlic which I have minced. I have half a teaspoon of caraway seeds, and I have 1 teaspoon of marjoram. I also have salt and pepper which I will add to taste, and I have 1200 millilitres, 5 cups of vegetable stock, but you could just use water if that's all you have. That's no problem. So the first thing we're going to do is to fry off the carrots, the celeriac and the parsnips in a little oil. Then we'll add the onions as well and soften those. So I've heated 2 tablespoons of oil in my pan, and I've added my carrots, celeriac, parsnip and onions in, and I'm just sweating those down a little bit. And if you can hear a fan running, it's because I'm using my induction hob, so I apologise for that. And then I'm going to add in my butter. If I didn't mention, I have 113 grams of butter. I think I may have forgotten to mention that. And once that's melted, I'm going to stir in the flour to form a sort of roux. And that will thicken the soup as it cooks. So the flour can go in. And I'm going to stir that around. And I'm just going to cook that till the flour cooks off a little bit. And then I'm going to add in my stock. And at this stage I'll put the caraway seeds in, and I should say caraway seeds are optional. Some people don't like them, so if you don't like caraway seeds, don't use them. And then I'm going to add my potato. And the mushrooms. And I'll put in my garlic as well. And between a quarter and half a cup of the liquid that the mushrooms boiled in. And the final ingredient I'm going to put in is my marjoram, and then as it cooks I will taste it and put in salt and pepper to my personal taste. So I'm going to bring that all to the boil. So as you can see, that's now started to boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to simmer it, to reduce the heat and simmer it for about 40 minutes until everything is fully cooked through. And I will stir it from time to time to make sure that the flour doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So I'll be back with you once this is cooked all the way through and we can have a taste of it. So it's been 40 minutes and my soup has cooked through nicely. I have seasoned it with some salt and some pepper. I stirred it from time to time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that cool a little bit, and then once it's cooled, I'll come back and we'll have a taste of it. So I've put most of the soup into a container for it to cool down, and that can go in the fridge to be eaten later. And I have to say, as with most soups, the flavour improves the next day. But I've served one bowl up and I'll have a taste of it. The flavour is very, very good indeed. The vegetables are cooked nicely. They're cooked through. The potato is soft so that it's cooked right through, and you can press it with your tongue onto the roof of your mouth and it will break up basically. Mushrooms are cooked nicely, and the mushrooms do tend to go a little bit floppy because they've been dried and rehydrated and such like, but perfectly fine. They give off a lovely flavour to the soup. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.